presiding over tonight's Leadership Matters and for bringing a touch of class to this program. It is a pleasure to share this program with a highly respected educator in Mr. Vincent Hodge. I had the honor as Minister of Education to have worked closely with him and to see his fine work. The commendation from the education sector, the love, the respect, all these are good attributes to have in a permanent secretary at this time. And I'm certain that he will provide the strong, consistent leadership of that sector as we move ahead in uncharted waters. The waters in which we are stepping out carefully and, of course, being mindful all times that we want to save lives and that we wish to bring no harm to anyone. I want to encourage the parents to stay attuned to every development taking place in the sector, not just during this trying period of COVID-19, but even beyond. And the reason for saying this is that parents at times underestimate the impact they have on the successful engagement of students in learning. The research I referred to earlier in my opening remarks indicated that parents, significant adults, are the most important factor in determining the quality of the educational experience of students. And so we need more parents, more uncles and aunts, more significant adults in the lives of our children to encourage them. Even as Caller speaks to this new order in which children are going to be engaged, the fact that they will need to practice, we are well aware of that. But what better practice can they have in preparation from school by seeing some of these values, some of these new requirements being observed within the household? So parents, you have to be the example which you now expect and we are now going to demand of the children. As often as you can insist and encourage the children to wash their hands, to keep themselves clean and tidy, to use, to get the exercise, well, they're always active, most of them, to be concerned about their immune system, the hygiene protocols, etc. And when they are going out, to always encourage them to wear masks. When we had the presentation from our health experts, at which Mr. Hodge also participated in that presentation to the cabinet, they were careful to point out that for children under a certain age, I think it is age 3, that the wearing of masks was not advisable. So it means that most of the children in the early childhood centers would not be required to wear masks, or at least a significant proportion of them. The concern raised with respect to the matter of the air conditioning and of course the fan is an important one, and it is one that will be taken under consistent advisement. Part of the reason for the non-use, if you will, of AC or the refraining from consistent use of it is that the fresh air is much more therapeutic and much more healthy. And so we want to encourage that as much as possible. That is why, if you recall the protocols as they relate even to public transport, there is the prescription that they keep their windows open so that the fresh, salubrious breeze can in fact impact more readily upon the health of the people. Of course, if the place becomes too hot, I don't think Mr. Hodge would be too punitive if you were to turn on the fan or the AC to give you some easement. But as much as possible, it is using the outdoors. And so again, as you fashion the experiences of the children, we have to look at a curriculum that perhaps Mr. Hodge have them more out than in That would have been the norm a couple of years ago, at least prior to COVID. So if they can do more games out in the courtyard, under the trees, those are considered in the context of the fight in which we are engaged, safer activities health-wise than being indoors. So again, I believe we can do this, and we will do this well. We will not condone non-performance by any actor in this particular fight in which we are engaged. We need all hands on deck. The Ministry of Education and the government as a whole will always be on listening tours, listening and learning, because I confess, as good as we are, we do not have Solomon's wisdom. And I have listened and learned a lot from the ordinary folks of St. Kitts and Nevis. So I want to thank them for continuing to provide me with suggestions and advice. We won't know everything, we won't see nor hear everything, but we are counting on you, the people out there, the patriots of St. Kitts and Nevis, the well-wishers of St. Kitts and Nevis, to help us go to this Canaan land. We see this period as a difficult period, which we have survived very well so far, and we can, as it were, cross that sea into the Canaan land as we continue to build out St. Kitts and Nevis as a Garden of Eden, where each one, of course, is achieving. Each one is doing his or her best to ensure that the generation coming after would have a better inheritance than would have otherwise not been available to that generation. I commend all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to high standards, to a period of creativity, ingenuity, industry, and discipline as we confront the task of nation building together. May God continue to bless all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, wherever they are, all our well-wishers and our residents here. And may God keep this beautiful country safe so that more people will enjoy the stronger and safer future. I thank you for viewing.
Thank you very much,